Hi, this is cbradiomagazine.com, and today we're going to look at the Magnum OmegaForce S-45HP. This is the newest high-power model OmegaForce from Magnum. It incorporates the RFX75 transistor system on the back of the radio. It's mounted on there from the factory. This radio will do anywhere from about 80 to 100 watts output, depending on how it's tuned. The OmegaForce series historically has been very popular in terms of drivers using it, and also in the hobby market. It's a very stable, especially on sideband radio. No frequency drift really whatsoever, because it does use a computer-controlled transmit and receive section. So very stable on sideband, no drift, and that makes it a very good sideband radio. Also very popular because of the Top Gun compressor and Top Gun modulator that are featured in these radios. Let's zoom in and we'll go through the features on the bottom, and then I'll jump up and show you what those buttons do up there. Okay, we've zoomed in on the controls. Let's have a quick look here. The first knob here is that these are dual control pots. On the inside you're going to have your volume control, also your on-off switch. On the outside is your squelch control. Next one is the RF gain on the outside, microphone gain on the inside control. This switch is a little bit interesting. This switch allows you to check your SWR on the meter up here, and you can also calibrate for when you check your SWR. The other settings are for when you want to use the Top Gun modulator. So the STX is the standard transmission mode on the radio. The MTX indicates that you're going to have the Top Gun modulator on. You'll see that there's an RB, plus RB on both the STX and the MTX side here. That's so you can turn the Roger beep on if you want to in either mode. Just to the right of that, we've got two more dual control pots here. This is your RF power variable control on the inside. That controls the amount of output on the radio. You can either turn it to maximum or you can turn it all the way down to minimum for 1 watt on the dead key, and the radio can swing up from there. If you turn it all the way to the left, it does turn on a PA function for the radio. On the outside control is your calibration for if you want to check your SWR. And to the right of that, it's going to be our echo knob. The echo inside the OmegaForce radios uses the RF limited turbo echo system. It's very popular, one of the most seamless echoes out there. Very clean and gives you a lot of different options in terms of adjustments. The inside knob here is going to be your on-off control, so you can turn the echo completely off. It's also the volume. The outside knob is the amount of delay, so you can adjust that. Going to the last two controls here on the bottom, the clarifier here is unlocked, meaning that as you turn it, it changes your transmit and receive simultaneously. The clarifier is on the inside control. The outside control is your all mode talkback. The talkback on this radio will work in AM, FM, and sideband modes. The talkback is completely variable, so you can turn it all the way down if you don't want to hear any talkback, or you can turn it up to your desired loudness. And of course, the last control on the right hand side here is your frequency control, so you can change channels. This radio does have an S meter on it. The S meter is real popular, especially with some of the more traditional CBers out there. It's kind of neat. This radio includes the LCD display, but it also does have the standard meter in it, the mechanical meter cell. On the middle section here, we've got 8 buttons. These buttons control different features. I'll go through them real quick and kind of describe what they do. Some of them are going to have something that's written up top and something below. In that case, they are a dual control function, and that's where this function button comes into play, so that you can press it just without pressing the function button for the top function, and if you want to get into that second function, you use this button and then whatever button you need to press. So starting off, you've got your function button, which we just discussed. You've got your memory button, which is used for jumping around between the memory frequencies that you can save in here. You can save up to 5 frequencies. It also saves modes, which I'll show you in a minute, which is a really cool feature. There's a dimmer control. There's a step and noise blank button here, a call button, a scan and shift button, a last channel recall button, and a mode and tone control button. So let me go through these real quick on the display and kind of show you what they do. First of all, the memory button. The neat thing about this radio is you can store memories in 5 different buttons, and you can store both the mode and the frequency, meaning that currently we're on 27.025 AM. I can press this memory button, and then I can press the desired button where I stored a frequency, and it'll jump just like that. So I've just gone to 27.185 AM, also channel 19. So what I can do again is press the memory button and number 3, and now we've jumped to lower sideband 27.385. I can press the memory button number 4. We've now jumped to upper sideband 28.400, ham radio 10 meter frequency. So as you can see, you can save the mode and the frequency. It's very neat to be able to do that because you can jump around really quick. So I can jump to channel 19, I can jump to channel 6, and if I want to go check out what's going on up on 38 on lower sideband, I just done it like that within a matter of seconds. So no changing knobs, no flipping the channel button, very easy. So I do like that feature quite a lot. The dimmer, of course, will dim the display. The step button, if we press that, you can see that we can adjust the frequency that we're on, and we can go in between frequencies. A lot of people will like that feature. The secondary function of that button is the noise blank. So what we would do to engage the noise blank is press the function button and then that number 1 noise blank button again. So in this case, I've just turned it off, function, number 1 button, and now it shows noise blank, automatic noise limiter enabled. Over here on the left hand side is the call button. This button is going to enable to do 2 things. Number 1, if we press the function button and then the call button, you'll see we've switched from a frequency display to an actual channel display. So now it'll show the channel that we're on. If we press function and then call again, it jumps right back to the frequency. The second function is the call button allows you to jump through the different bands of frequencies, so you can go from down in the 25 megahertz range all the way up to the 29 megahertz range. And we used our memory button and we jumped right back up into the 11 meter. The next button here is the scan button. The shift button is disabled once the radio is put into the expanded mode, which would be expanded modified for 11 meters as well. The scan button still functions though. The scan button is interesting. If you press it, it'll scan through each channel, and it'll delay on each channel for about 5 seconds and then jump to the next channel, and it'll go all the way through the band like that. If you want to, you can turn up the squelch, and if we turn up the squelch, it'll start scanning faster until it finds a station that's breaking the squelch, and then it'll stop. So 2 different types of scanning on that particular function, which is neat. The next function that will go along here is the last channel recall button. So right now we're at 27.115. If I hit the last channel recall, it takes us to the last channel that we transmitted on. So that's a neat function as well. Lastly, we've got the mode and tone button here. The mode will control if we're in AM, upper sideband, lower sideband, FM, or AM. If you want to control the tone, which is the high or low tones that are coming through the receive of the speaker, you press the function button and you can change that. So that's the basics on those. The memory, there's a certain way to store a frequency. If you're trying to store a frequency, you change the channel until you get the frequency that you desire. You press function, then memory, and then the location button that you want to store it in. So we've now stored this frequency in the number 1 button. I can jump to the number 3 location, and we can go back, and now we're right back at that frequency. So very easy to store the different frequencies in there as well. Let's talk a little bit about the LCD display. The LCD display does show the number of features that are going to be enabled. It shows the mode, and it does have a 5-digit frequency display. It's not a frequency counter, it's just a display, and then it will show the different bands. It uses the A, B, C, D type display to show which band you're in. The 11 meter band, once it's expanded, will be the E band. If we key up the microphone and we begin to talk, you'll see that it actually shows the RF output here, depending on how you're modulating and everything on the output of the radio. And that actually will display in a bar graph type on the bottom of the screen here on the LCD. They have put the blue lights in this model. The newer Omegas use the blue lights. There are a previous version, which was the old original version, that did use the yellow lights in them. Alright, now that we've gone through the features on the radio real quick, let's take a look at the sides. I'll show you a couple other interesting things about this radio.